it's interesting because we're getting to that point of the year where everybody's going to lose their mind, spend 10 times what they need to spend on presents and food and throw most of it away. There are solutions though, aren't they? And Tesco have come up with some of them.
Yeah, so they've started this new loyalty scheme, and this is what I'm trialling at the moment, because obviously they've done a lot of research. They've researched that people are more likely to do big shops, me, myself included. So what they're doing is you can save 10% on 2 big shops, up to £200 each month. I did it last week, and I saved almost 20 quid when I got to the tills. And it's just little savings like that which go a long, long way when you know that you're going into the supermarket and you're going to be spending a lot of money, especially with Christmas coming up. We all go a little bit crazy at Christmas, myself included. Do it every year. Say I'm not going to, but I always do. And I just think it's nice to have a little bit of extra money left over at the end, and that's what Tesco are doing at the minute with this Clubcard Plus. I
don't think money's ever been tighter, and you must know as a mother that it is a balance, isn't it, between do I get another pack of bananas or do we have to buy a pack of socks for school? It's tricky, isn't it?
Absolutely. I've been there myself. I grew up a working class family. There was 5 of us. There was a big portion of my life where my mum and dad were on income support, and it is really, really hard. And it comes down to that balance of, can we afford food? Do we need things like this? And I just think for a supermarket like Tesco to try and go out of the way to help people save a little bit of money, it's just a really good thing. And at the minute as well, they've got 10% off all of their clothing range, which really helps because my little boy goes through underpants like I have never known. I swear, he's just growing. He's gone up 2 sizes in the last year.
How is Chris? Is he all right?
Yeah, I've got 2 little boys. Did you not know? I've got Chris and Robin.
It's interesting, isn't it, when you have got kids? Because, I mean, things like trousers, they can be brand new on the Monday and they've only got to fall over in the street and graze their knee and they're in the bin on the Tuesday. I mean, again, that's what Tesco have tried to do, isn't it? Sort of keep up to date with what people need. And nobody's going to buy Gucci trousers for a 3-year-old, are they?
Absolutely, I completely agree. And I think as well, I love that you can get your clothing, kids for school kids, kids school clothes, you can get things for yourself while you're in the shop doing your big shop. I know that I haven't personally got time to go around loads of different shops to be getting different things for every single person in my family. To be able to go into Tesco, get everything under one roof, it's perfect for me because if you've got a busy lifestyle, it just works and it fits in really well.
And there's never been more competition between the supermarkets. You can find out more about Tesco Clubcard Plus. Just put it into Google and it will come up. You can register there and get that 10% saving. We mentioned there, Chris, and of course, I mean, it's not hurt your career in a sense that whoever you're married to who is famous, there's always going to be interest in you. Was there ever a point when you wish you could just be anonymous again and go back to a life of sort of just being a mum and a wife instead of the wife of the man who's currently on Strictly?
To be honest, no. I'm really, really loving it. I've been in the entertainment business, obviously not this big one that we're in now. I've been performing since I was 18-year-old, so I've kind of always enjoyed it and enjoyed being in the spotlight, and I'm really loving it. I am. And the thing is, me and Chris are very good at when we're home with our little boy, we very much shut the doors and we have us, and that's just our time. And I think that's so important because you can get a little bit carried away in this world, but that's part of the reason possibly why we stayed up north. We live in our hometown surrounded by the people who we've been around for years, and it just works really well for us.
I love Chris very much. I first interviewed him, 5 years ago or something like that, and he's always kept it positive. He doesn't go controversial. He keeps his nose out of politics and all of that. He is a comedian, and it seems to me these days a lot of comedians want to sort of be on Twitter ranting and raving. He's not about that, and I think that, again, that positive stuff feeds to his audience. He has a positive audience, doesn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's just Chris, Everything that you're seeing on the telly, that is Chris. That's my husband. He's a really positive guy, and it rubs off when you're with him. And he's just nice to be around with. I sound like I'm going to get really soppy, but I really like being married to him.
How did you meet him?
I've known him for a long time. We met when we were around about 14, and then we went to college together, but we didn't get together romantically until about 7 years ago. But we've always known each other. We're from the same hometown, so it just felt right.
It's amazing. I read in the paper yesterday that you talked about sort of the downside of life, which is not always positive. Again, it seems like you have a unity that you could only get from that long together. It's a beautiful thing, isn't it, when you find a synergy with somebody who's not fake. It's totally authentic, goes back years.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think it helps that we're from the same place. We've had a very similar upbringing. We're now in the same world together. And it's lovely. I'm loving working with Chris. It might not last forever, but we are really enjoying it and we're having a good time.
Tell me about your life before, because theatre's played a big part of it as well. You've done musicals and stuff like that.
Yeah, I did growing up. Yeah, I did a lot of things in the public eye, mostly where I live, which was quite local. So it's always been a part of my life. Performing always been a part of it.
Tell me about keeping life fresh, because I look at a parent, I don't have kids because I'm too selfish and I do things like interviews now and you've got to have silence in the house, for example. How do you make it work where you don't go insane? Because it's a selfless life, isn't it? When you're a mother and also a wife, you've got to give most of you to other people.
Yeah, it's something that it's hard at first, and then you kind of just get used to it, and it's your everyday life. And you know what? The love that you feel for your child, it's like nothing you've ever experienced in your whole life. And until it happens to you, I don't think you understand what it feels like. Until you have that child, you're like, right, I get it now. Obviously it's not the same when I'm dragging him around the supermarket and he's nagging for everything, but what can you do? You try your best.
How many kids are you looking for? 15, 16, 17?
Oh my goodness, no way. We've got the one at the minute, and then who knows what the future might bring.
You're not a Katie Price then, you're not looking for a whole sort of extra wing on the house?
Oh no, I'm a bit like you, I'm a bit too selfish to have that many children.
And it is true, isn't it? You do have to be selfless to do it, because even career-wise as a mother, have you found that it is trickier to do stuff just because you've got to be there to look after the kid after school or after nursery and cook a meal?
It does get really tricky. You see, I'm so lucky. We have got our parents, Chris's mum and dad and my mum and dad, are so helpful, and they help out wherever they can. So we've been so lucky in that respect. But yeah, it's always hard. It's always hard trying to juggle life. You just got to try the best you can.
I saw at the weekend there you were at Strictly. He seems like he's mastered that show. He'd even be good on something like I'm a Celebrity, because he's not a fake. I think where you're caught out on those programmes is where the veneer after a couple of weeks drops. But as you say, he's just being him. And he seems happier for everybody else getting through than himself. It's extraordinary.
Yeah, he is genuine. I think he's still just surprised that he's there, to be totally honest.
It is a bit weird, isn't it?
Because he's not a dancer. He's not a dancer at all, so he didn't expect to be there. And they all get on so well. I've seen it with my own eyes. They are a lovely group, and they've turned into a group of friends. And so they're just loving it, and he's just so happy that for everyone doing well on it. It's great.
It's interesting, isn't it? When you come from a background of a solid family with love and happiness and all of that, it seems to sort of filter through your life in everything else. You've always been positive, haven't you?
Yeah, I really try to, don't get me wrong, I'm not always chipper and positive, but I really try to just live each day as it comes and just try and be positive. If you're positive, life just is much nicer.
And it's the same on air, and it's the same in life, and it's the same in family, isn't it? If you sort of walk into a room with a negative attitude, you just end up with a negative atmosphere.
Oh, absolutely. Totally agree. And, I think you learn from experience as well, because, everybody has their down days, but it's getting out of those down days which is the hardest thing. But once you've learned how to do that, life's just much nicer.
And it's interesting, there's something about the Northeast that is immediately positive. I mean, even the accent is uplifting. There is something about that part of the world, isn't there?
Yeah, we put a little, it's like at the end of everything, we kind of go up a little bit. I've found that with the North. I don't know what it is. Is it the air? Is it different up there? I've got no idea, but it's a lovely place to live. And everyone is really nice. It's not as hustle and bustly as, down south or in the big city. And, it's just a very nice place to live.
There's an innocence about it. I went on holiday up to Northumberland this year, last year, and the year before, and walking along those cliffs and just seeing a sort of innocence that we don't have down south. I'm only in Nottingham, but by comparison, there's sort of a better ethic of family and all of that stuff. I think it's because it's so far away from London. It's a blessing.
Yeah, Yeah, I agree with you there. There's something about it where, because you're so far away from the big city and the big going on, the hustle and bustle, you kind of stick together more. You know, you need each other more. And you're right, Northumberland's beautiful.
Tell me about your life. It's really interesting because, of course, background of a microphone is sort of home from home to you. I mean, radio's been a big part of your life.
Yeah, I used to work in radio a few years ago, before I had my little boy. Really good fun.
It's one of those mediums where you can't fake it. It either works or it doesn't work. You were on the drive show, which is easier than breakfast because at least you get to sleep.
Well, that's true. Yeah, the early mornings were really, really hard. And I definitely think working in radio has taught me so much for today. I mean, I never thought I'd be here, you know, working with Tesco for the new Clubcard Plus. Like, that is not anything that I thought that I would be doing when I was sat in a radio station in the northeast of England. So it's amazing, and I'm just really, really enjoying it.
Rosie, it's really lovely to talk to you. Thank you so much for your time. You can find out more about Tesco Clubcard Plus, and I thank you so much for talking to us today. Cheers.
Thank you so much, Alex. Lovely to chat to you.